my cousin, and he's got his company doing data science, developed a data science operations platform. And Rado, who lives in Czech Republic, that is Slovak. I just love to pronounce the word Slovak. Sorry. Okay, it's not about me. So he's a lead data scientist at Credo, and he will explain what happens after you've created a machine learning model. So this is really actually the beginning and not the end.
Yeah. You go. Thank you. So I will really try to be on time because I realize that I'm the thing keeping you from the next beer. So I will commit to the 7 minutes. Yeah, and as Johan correctly said, I will actually start my talk where most of the machine learning talks ends. So imagine that you created some super machine learning model that you are particularly proud of. And a colleague of yours comes to you and say, yeah, I really like your model. Are you able to deliver it every business day at 7 a.m. in the morning, no matter what happens, in the utmost quality? And can you make sure that the model is monitored and I can do some reporting and that the results that are coming from the model are really of the greatest quality? Which is a fair demand to make if you really think you have a good model, I think. So there are a few options to go about this demand. First, you can go to your IT department and submit this and pass this demand to the IT department. You can give it 3 months or 6, and you'll see how it goes. The other option is you might think, well, it's just one scoring script and some data preparation in a database, so how hard it can be? And seriously, I can do it on my own. Just a side remark, in this example it's 2 scripts, but normally it can be 10 scripts and 50 different variations of them running at the same time. That's the scope we are talking about. But in this scope it's like just 2 scripts, how hard that can be. So you sit behind your Windows laptop and you just write a .bat file, and in a half an hour or hour you're done, easy peasy, right? Perfect, no problem. But then you realize, okay, but I have to deliver every day, and some days I might not be at work, so I might also deploy this on the server. And the first thing you typically come across is that you don't have the access to the server. So you need to go to your IT departments anyhow, and you need to haggle with them. So after a few days, you get your access, and now you will roll, right? Well, not really, because then you realize, shit, because all the servers are in Linux, you wrote the .bat file that doesn't really work, so you have to change it into some Linux flavor. So you write the cron job, and now you are all rolling, so that wasn't that hard either. And then you realize, but the data preparation script doesn't work because all your connection to the databases that you were used to from your laptop no longer work on the server. So again, you go to IT department and you set up the connections, and now it really have to work, right? Not really, because then your Python script is missing some dependencies, and then at this point the situation starts to be critical. But after a few, and you can roll like this for a few more weeks. I haven't mentioned all the problems, but after a few stressful weeks or months, you come to a situation where when you finally have your cron job running, the data are running through these 2 scripts, and you are delivering results. And at that point, you start to be sentimental, and you say, "Well, it wasn't that difficult. I learned something. Now it all works, and and it will work like this forever, right?" Well, not really, because what then typically happens is that after a few weeks you get an email from the IT department saying that there was a server update due to some performance issues on the server, but you should expect no problems whatsoever. And this is what typically happens. So that was the second option. And the third option that you might go about is like this. And now I have a slide, and I realize that this doesn't work, so I have to switch off from my presentation and run the video like this. Okay. So you might use an open source tooling which is called Kubeflow, and Kubeflow is a platform where you can develop and deploy your machine learning scripts. So on the development side, you basically have some notebook environment where you can develop in Python, R, and SQL. And it's all nicely integrated. This is nothing new for all of you guys. I think you've seen these Python notebooks many times before. So that's just some Python. You can have some R. So you can have an SQL integration, also Spark integration. That's something that's not in the video, but it's also or will become soon available. But what is more important and more interesting is the deployment side. So actually, when the question from your colleague comes, whether you can deliver the results, and that will start now. So this is still showing the SQL side. Important thing, the deployment happens. Okay, so that's the deployment side. The deployment happens via a construct called pipeline. So the pipeline is the sequence of your data processing steps and scoring. So this might be one case of a pipeline. The pipeline is run in a run. So you define just a run where you define some name of a run and you schedule it. And and once you define this, you can also define some parameters, and then you click launch, and it runs. And so here you can see as you go through the calculation how the different steps are executed. Just for the sake of interest, the individual steps are individual Docker containers. So that's the technology that is underneath. And so you have the pipeline. Yeah, and so on the account of monitoring, so if you want to have some monitoring of your application, how it is running, you can use, for instance, Kibana, which is this tool stack. It's also an open source tooling for dashboarding, where you can in real time monitor how your scores are coming in. But this is an arbitrary kind of dashboard. You can really develop different types of dashboards. All right, so that's for the monitoring part of your deployed models. And and there you go, you're done. So that's basically how it can look in a hassle-free way. And just a very last slide that I think might be interesting for you. So that's here. So what you've seen in the video is basically a cloud instance on the top of which there is a Kubernetes running. On the top of Kubernetes there is the kubeflow. That's another. These are all open source technologies. And the kubeflow was the technology that was mentioned in the video. So everything you've seen in the video was kubeflow. Elasticstack is where we done the dashboarding, and the notebooks. All the model development happens in Docker containers. All right, and that's it. Thanks a lot.